It's TBISE, the best in sports entertainment. We're here live in Powers USA. TNS Media Group is the team. We have a special guest here today, Monet Davis. She decided to join the show today. Happy to have her. So Monet, what's going on with you? How you feeling?
Feeling good, can't complain.
I had to hunt you down, get you on the show. I had to call around. Our guy Clinton mentioned your name. Like I said, he mentioned your name, and I'm like, I gotta get her on the show. I gotta interview her. You from Philadelphia? Mm-hmm. What part of Philadelphia are you from?
South Philly.
South Philly? Yeah. So I want to jump right into the interview. So just because a lot of people were familiar with your story, and some people may not know the actual facts of your story. Mm-hmm. So how did you get into Little League baseball? How did it all start for you?
So I played, so growing up, I played basketball with my brother. He's 4 years older than me. So anything he did, I thought was the coolest thing ever. If you have an older sibling, you think everything that they do, like you want to follow their lead. So he got me introduced to basketball, and then my cousin, he played at Marion Anderson Rec Center in South Philly.
Okay.
And I was down there at one of his practices, and his friends were down there, and we were playing manhunt football in the outfield. And then the coach at the time, who's been my coach, he came up to me, gave me a sticky note, and was like, "Give this to your mom, have her call me." And so we knew it was an all boys team. My mom's like, "No, like you're not playing." At the time, I was her only daughter, so she was like, "No, my daughter's not playing sports. Well, she's not playing sports with the guys." And so I just kept begging her because I was like, I want to play so bad. And it was basketball season too, so I was like, I want to play basketball so bad. And she finally called him, and she took me to a practice. And first, he just wanted me to sit down and just like watch the practice. But then I was like, no, like I can do that. Like I want to play. Yeah. So he put me out there, and then from then on, we went from basketball, then baseball indoors, and then we went to soccer. And then fast forward some years later, when you're old enough to play Little League, he signed us up for Taney Little League over there right next to South Street Bridge. And they were like, yeah, so we're trying to make it to the Little League World Series. Like, do you guys want to play? And first time we said no, because we're like, we want to play summer ball with the people we grew up with. Like, we don't want to try. Plus, we like, it's gonna take forever. Like, we're not making it. Like, only certain people make it. Like, it's not worth it. It's just a waste of time. And then all of a sudden, we just kept winning games. Like, just kept winning games. Then once we won states and we went to regionals, I think that was the time where we were like, wait, we can actually like make it there. Wow. That's when we got serious about it, and that's kind of how we started with Little League. It was not in the plans at all. We did not want to do it. We said no multiple times, but my coach ended up signing me and his son up, and just was like, you guys are going to do it anyway. So
going through that whole transition and then, becoming a pitcher, how did you become the pitcher?
I wanted the ball. I was like 9, and I was playing the outfield, and we had so many people on our team. It was like 14 of us. And so in the outfield, you would rotate. And so it was my turn to sit on the bench, and my coach was like, does anyone want to pitch? And I was like, I do. Like, anything that I will be able to get the ball, that's what I wanted to do. And so he's like, all right. And first time I went to go pitch, I had no idea what I was doing. I just knew you had to lift your leg up and throw the ball. And this big kid came up and hit a bomb off me. Like, he had to hit it like 400 feet, and he got inside the park home run. And my coach called time after he scored, and he always says how he's like, yeah, I thought you were crying, but you just sat there and you told me that you'll never let that happen again. And ever since then, he's like, you struck that kid out every single time.
Wow. So being a pitcher, a lot of people look at it saying like, we know it's difficult to be a pitcher, but really, how difficult is it to be a pitcher, to stay on that mountain and throw that ball down there and try to expect someone out? Is it really difficult?
It is, because people gotta realize, like, you're not throwing you're throwing the ball, but you're not throwing the ball. Like, there's a difference between pitching and throwing. And so when you pitch, you gotta really your accuracy has to be on point. Because you could mess up by a small inch, and that could be the difference between a strikeout and a home run. So you gotta not only, like, for me, I was able to overpower the guys that I was playing against, because girls develop way faster than the boys do. So I was able to dominate with my fastball, but there were people who were able to catch up to the fastball, and I had to learn how to throw extra pitches. So I had to learn how to throw a curveball, I had to learn how to throw a changeup. And no matter how hard you throw, people are going to be able to hit your fastball. So you got to really focus on other pitches, focus on hitting your spot, and also the game just is dictated around how you're playing. If you want to go fast, the game will go fast. If you want to go slow, the game will go slow. So you really got to control the field. You got to be the leader on the field. There's a lot that comes with being a pitcher that people don't realize. You're not just out there just throwing a ball. Like you got a lot to do. Got a lot of responsibility too.
So even playing Little League, there was another female girl that played as well. So how did it feel being, at that time in 2014, being, just one of 2 girls to play Little League baseball?
Well, for me, it was normal because I played with the boys my entire life. So, I didn't see anything different. But then when you look back on it and you realize, it was just my team and the Chicago team were the 2 teams with the most black people on the team. That made a huge difference because you don't see black men at the time. There weren't many black men in the MLB. And then you see a bunch of black kids, not just black kids, but you got kids from inner city of Philly, inner city of Chicago. So that's a huge, that made, a huge difference.
Yeah.
But being one of the only girls, that didn't really bother me because I was so used to it. And even talking to her, she was used to it too because she had a twin brother on the team, so she played with him her entire life. So it really wasn't a big shocker to me because we were so used to it. But to other people to see a girl out there, it gave a lot of people hope. But it was just a normal deal for me, really.
So you're the first girl to play in Little League baseball, and you're the first girl to win, and you're the first girl to throw basically shut someone out. So explain to me that your mindset going into that game, that game we threw the shutout.
Yeah, I didn't expect to pitch. Well, I should have known, but I didn't think I was gonna pitch because I'm I just pitched. We just played a game not too long ago, so I wasn't expecting to pitch. But then I always realize when I don't do well in warm-ups, that's when I absolutely play my best. And so I could not get anything to work in warm-ups. All my fastballs were high. Curveball wasn't working. Changeup wasn't working. And I was like, oh, this is going to be... First, I'm like, oh, this is going to be a long day. And then I was like, you know what? Our dream was just to get here. All I got to do is throw strikes and just trust my teammates. And that's what I did. I just went out there and I just got in a groove. I guess you could say I blacked out. I blacked out from the 2nd to the 5th inning. And I don't remember anything that happened during that time unless I go back and watch it. But I just was in the zone. And once I get in the zone, it's hard to take me out. And I knew I wanted to finish the game and help my team out because if I was able to finish the game, we didn't have to use other pitchers. But if I didn't finish the game, we had to use other pitchers, and that would throw us off for the rest of the tournament. So I was like, I gotta make sure I do my job out here. But even just throwing a shutout, I threw one the game before. It was something that I was used to because, like I said before, I was overpowering kids. So that was kind of normal for me. But on a bigger stage for me to perform that way, it's not something I would ever think of.
So in that game, right? So when was it that you noticed hey, listen, I got an opportunity to throw? When did it just want to say something? Hey, listen, you can throw a shutout. Was it mentioned to you, or they just was leave her alone, let her go ahead and play? What was the mentality of the team?
That's actually a good question because I don't think I ever really thought about that. I don't think anyone really said anything about throwing a shutout. I know I was focused on the pitch count because after you couldn't throw a certain amount of pitches, and if you did, you had to rest a certain amount of days.
Wow.
So I was worried about not going over the pitch count. I think it was 60. If I went over 65 pitches or something like that, or 85, something crazy, and I was close to that number, and I was like, I have no room to mess up. I can't walk anybody. I can't throw, give people extra pitches. I was like, I need to focus on getting this pitch count. And when you start, say the pitch count's 80 pitches, if I start a batter at 79, I go past 80, I'm still able to just take the rest for 80 pitches, or however many days you have to rest for 80 pitches. So I just wanted to focus on getting that pitch count so we didn't have to throw someone else instead of, worried about the shutout.
Okay, so now you're in the game, right? And and you're getting to the point where it's you're facing your last batter, and you're like, hey, if I get him up. So was it any nerves or any did you feel any pressure? Because because sometimes you can get to the end, it's all right, that's when the pressure really falls on your back. Now, did you feel any pressure once you got to the last pitcher?
Yeah, I did because I knew that was the last batter I would face in the game if I walked him or if I gave up a hit. So in my mind, I'm like, you need to throw strikes. And when I do that to myself, that's when I start throwing balls. And I actually went down in the count, I think 3-1, and then I end up coming back from that. And so I never really show like too much emotion when I'm playing. But after I struck that batter, I like let out a scream that I didn't know I had, because I'm like, I never really showed that emotion, but that was one of those times where it's like a relief. Like I just had to let something out, because I'm like, I can't walk this guy. Because if I walk this guy, then someone else is going to come in, and it's just not going to look good. Like, I got to finish this game out. Like, I felt so good throughout the entire game. I was in a groove, and I was like, I can't let this happen. But I was just, I just let out a scream. That was probably the only pressure I felt, just because it was more so pressure for myself to not walk him rather than like pressure from anyone else.
Now, do you remember the kid's name, who it was that you struck out? You remember his name?
I think it was a sub, but no.
Yeah? Wow. Now, they said that you, at 13, I think you was throwing like 70 miles per hour or something like that. So what's the fastest pitch that you threw?
Honestly, I have no idea. I have no clue. I haven't pitched in so long. Like,
No, I'm saying when you were playing, what was the fastest?
I couldn't even tell you. I feel like I'm just gonna say 70, because I don't know, because a lot of the games we played there wasn't like a radar around, so we couldn't really know. But I really have no clue.
Okay, so now you're playing the little league. You get the shutout. Now things are going crazy for you, right? How did that feel to, because you said you didn't know how big it was at the time, right? But when did it hit you like, hey, I just did something crazy in the media and everyone? When did it hit you? At what point did you realize that it was like a real big deal?
Probably not until I got older, to be honest with you. Like,
Really?
I knew it was something different, because like I'm traveling to like different places. So like I knew that was different, but like the impact that it had on, our culture and like this society and the sports world, I had no idea until I got older.
Wow.
But I would say I'd probably say ESPYs weekend in 2015. That was probably when I was like, where it like hit me like, oh my God, like this is crazy. Like I'm over here at the ESPYs. I got an ESPY award, so I'm giving a speech in front of all these athletes I look up to, like LeBron sitting in front row, Steph Curry sitting in front row. Like that's probably when I was like, dang, like this is crazy. Like this is like life. Like, is this real? Like this stuff you dream of when you're a kid growing up. Like you want to be one of the top athletes, but like to experience that at such a young age, like it was just crazy. So I'd probably say that weekend, because I did the ESPYs and I did the Nickelodeon Awards too. So it was kind of like back and forth. That was probably the time where I was like, dang, like that actually happened to me.
Yeah, and you also were the first Little League player to be on the cover of Sports Illustrated. How did that happen, and what was that experience like?
I just remember playing ping pong with my friends, and I'm assuming, I really don't know the full story, but I'm assuming that the adults knew what was going on, and I'm pretty sure this was happening, and they were told to not say anything to me. And so they were just like, yeah, like come do this little 5-minute Sports Illustrated interview, and then you can go back to playing. I'm like, okay. So I sat outside, and I did a little interview. It literally was 5 minutes. Wow. And I was able to go back inside, and then however many days afterwards, I just remember being called into the office, and they're like, yeah, we got to show you something. I'm like, okay. And there was a stack of Sports Illustrateds on the desk. And I was just looking at them, and I was like, is this real? And they're like, yeah. They're like, we're going to give one. I want to say they gave one to everyone on the team, but I really don't know. So they were like, can you sign them all? And I'm like, yeah, I'll sign them. Like, that's crazy. I remember, I literally was sitting there, and I was like, I remember going through my brother's Sports Illustrateds. And they would have like the Sports Kid of the Year, and I'm like, how do people get this? Like, how is this possible? Like, who knows? Like, out of all the kids you have to choose from, like, how do they pick who's going to be a sports kid? And then next thing you know, I'm on the cover, and it was just insane. I remember my stepdad saying how he would drive all over the city looking for as many magazines as he could to save them, and he couldn't find any. And then next thing you know, all the fans at Little League, like they all have magazines that they want me to sign. It was just probably the crazy thing that happened that day.
Wow. And then so you're traveling around and you're going to different cities, and you got to tell me, you had to see it. Like people were just screaming your name, like people want to take pictures. Like, how was that for you to be like, wow, like, you know, it's like people will come to you asking for your autograph at such a young age. How was that for you?
That was different because I'm starting to break out of it, but I've been very shy like my entire life. Like I stay to myself. I'm not usually around too many people. Like I'm just very like to myself type of person. So for people to like come up to me and ask for pictures and autographs, like that was a lot for me. It was overwhelming, but I have a great support system around me who were able to, you know, keep it at bay and make sure that I was still able to be a kid. And a lot of the events that I went to and got to do, like they picked the right events for me. They picked the events that they thought I would have the most fun at, and not what they thought would be fun.
Exactly.
And so it was a lot at the time. And then even like this past May, I was in Cooperstown for like a celebrity baseball game with like a bunch of future Hall of Famers and Hall of Famers. And like I probably say I got the most screams there, which was insane because you have like Ryan Howard here, CeCe Sabathia, like you have all of these people here, and like everyone's cheering for me. Like it was just such a like surreal moment, and it was just crazy because like that happened 10 years ago, and like for people to still be screaming my name, want to take pictures, like it just doesn't feel real.
Yeah, because you know it's like sometimes when you're in the moment, you don't really realize that it's happening. You know, now. For you, you said that you were all, like you mentioned, you were all over, you know, traveling around. Who's the celebrity that you met that said, hey, I just met whoever it was, and it just made you feel like, wow?
I'd probably say, this is right after Little League. It was around this time, actually. I got to go to the White House when Obama was in the office. And so I got to meet him and Michelle Obama.
Wow.
And I was able to bring my mom with me, and that was probably the craziest moment. Like, I feel like having the dream to meet a president, like you could say like, yeah, I want to meet the president, but like you never think it's gonna ever happen. Like I never thought in a million years I would meet, especially the first black president, like I never thought that would happen. And so I was able to go there, and I like didn't tell any of my friends at school because I had to leave school early. And so I went straight there, and afterwards I was able to tell them and like let them know because I think it was live streamed on like YouTube or something.
Wow.
And so that was probably the moment where I was like, oh my God, like not only did I meet Barack Obama, but like the first black president, like that was insane.
So you go to the White House, you know, were you like walking around the White House, like going?
No, so I actually didn't get to go inside the White House.
Okay.
It was on the lawn, and there was these huge white tents with like heat in them. And so we were sitting there, and there was like, I think Patti LaBelle was there, Neo was there. There's a bunch of different artists there. And so I'm just sitting there. I'm like, y'all probably met each other before. And I'm just like, got this little 13-year-old in the corner with her mom just like sitting there. But even like they knew who I was too, which was crazy. Cause like I don't know. It's just the things that I've got to experience it just doesn't make sense to me still. Like it's crazy. Like I was able to experience all that at such a young age, and all those people know who I am. It's just wild, honestly.
And you met you met Kobe Bryant as well. How was that to meet Kobe?
That was really cool.
Yeah.
That was really cool. I got to talk to him on the phone after Little League, and he said how he sat his daughters down to watch me play, and like that. I don't know. Like that's insane. Like that one of the best basketball players ever sat his daughters down to watch me pitch every game. Like that was insane. So when I first met him, he was super nice. He looked at me and did like a double take, and then he gave me a hug and asked how I was doing. All these cameras around. It was his last game in Philly, so like he had other things like he could have been doing, and he took the time out to really talk to me and check up on me, see how I was doing, gave me a hug, signed a jersey for me, and you know, after just went about his day after that. But for him to take, you know, that short amount of time out and, you know, talk to me, that meant a lot.
Did he give you any advice that you want to reveal?
He did on the phone, but I really don't remember. I was literally starstruck. I couldn't speak at all. Like I've been a LeBron fan growing up, and so I still admire like everything Kobe. You have to if you're a basketball fan. Like the way he plays, the mindset he has, like you admire that. So I was literally speechless. I had no idea it was him. And then he's like, hey, Renee, it's Kobe Bryant. I sat there and I was like, And I was like, are you going to say something? I was like, I don't know what to say. Like,
Yeah.
what do I say to Kobe? Like, this is Kobe Bryant. And so I was speechless. But I've he probably did drop some gems, but I really don't remember. I was so just like starstruck by it.
So I'm assuming you met LeBron James as well. How was that interaction with LeBron?
That was cool. That was very brief. It was during All-Star game in like 2015, so that was like very quick. But we got to take a picture, which was really cool. And then actually last summer, I was out in LA for an internship, and the family I was staying with, their son went to school with Bronny James and was one of his good friends, and they had prom at their house, and I got to talk to Savannah James. She was super nice. She was like, I remember meeting you when you were younger.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy how much you've grown. I was like, oh my goodness, like this is crazy. Like,
Yeah.
it was insane. But yeah, they're all very, very nice people.
Yeah, so with all this going on, right, you just mentioned, a few moments back, you mentioned that you had to like leave school and go to the White House. How was it, well, how did you deal with your fame and everything while still going to school at such a young age? How did you deal with that?
That was fine. I went to a private school, so a lot of the people, like once I came back, I went to school with all those girls since it was an all-girls school up to 8th grade, so I went to school with all those girls since 2nd grade. And so nothing was really different. Like I wanted to go back to school so bad because like you want that sense of like normalcy. Like you want to go back to being a kid. So as soon as I actually came back from LA, I was in LA the first day of school, and so I like made my mom take me to school the next day, like right off the plane, just straight to school, because I was like, I need to see my friends. Like,
Wow.
I need to feel that sense of home. And so at first, like my friends were shocked because I told them I wasn't coming in until Thursday, and then I ended up coming in early, and they were just super shocked. But it was fine after that. Like everything was cool. Everyone was very respectful. No one was like overbearing and like acting crazy. Everything was very chill, and I just felt great going to school. And I knew part of me was like, I'll probably be homeschooled, but then also I'm like, I'm not going to be homeschooled. Like I want to go to college. Like I can't be homeschooled. And so actually going to school was probably some of the best days I had during that entire time.
Wow. And so what high school did you go to?
Springside Chestnut Hill Academy.
All right, so now you fast forward, college, Hampton University.
Yeah.
So how was that being, Monet Davis? How was it?
It was fun. I mean, like I said before, I was very quiet, very reserved. Like people knew who I was, but like no one really came up to me. People like to say like I'm not a very approachable person, like because I would put my headphones in and I would just walk from practice, go to my room, go to class. But like the people that did come up to me, like they were all super cool about everything. Like no one comes up to you and is like, oh my God, how was meeting, da-da-da. It was never like that. Everyone was just like, oh, how's it going? Like from Philly, like what's your favorite part? Oh, I know this and that. So everything was always super cool, like nothing too crazy out of the ordinary.
And what made you choose Hampton University for softball?
The journalism school, because when I was going through, where I wanted to go to school, I wanted to make sure I wasn't going for just the coach, that I was going for the school as well.
Okay.
So I went to visit during homecoming, and if you know anything about HBCU homecoming, it's a family reunion.
Correct.
And so that kind of solidified it, and it wasn't too far from home. And the dean at the time for the journalism school, she had a ton of Emmys, and I was like, I could learn something from her. Like,
wow.
And then also knowing like, seeing where the alumni went after they graduated, and knowing all the connections from Hampton and in the real world, I knew that I could really benefit from that. Even just this past at the Eagles game, I'm walking through everybody, and the one guy's like, "Yo, Hamptonian." I was like, "That is the craziest thing ever." My friend's like, "What?" Yeah. I'm like, "Yeah." I'm like, people are everywhere. If you went to Hampton, you were everywhere. So, I was probably the best decision I made.
Wow. That's what experience is really good for you.
Yeah.
Now, you have this stardom, you have all these accolades and things that you have gained from baseball, all this notoriety, all these different things. Some of the questions that came in, because kind of did some stuff before we got an interview. Who's your favorite basketball player and why?
I'll give you a list, no order.
No order. Okay, we can say 5, the top 5.
5? Okay. So growing up, when I was real young, when I first started learning about the sport, it was Tracy McGrady.
Okay.
And then my brother put me on to LeBron, And then as I started to get older and really pay attention to basketball, I started to like Steph Curry because I was a shooter. I loved Devin Booker since he was in college. And then the last one, I'd probably say Jamal Crawford.
Okay, cool.
People would never think that, but I love Jamal Crawford.
So you hoop, you can play basketball?
Yeah. I'm playing tomorrow.
Where are you playing at?
I'm playing up in the Northeast with my friends.
Oh, yes? Y'all play a pickup up there?
Yeah.
Okay, so you get buckets?
I usually sit in the corner and just talk trash and knock down some shots here and there.
Oh, that's it?
Yeah.
Okay. I bet you, I mean, you probably hoop. He's trying to be bashful.
No,
but
I'm serious. I'm so serious. I'm more of like, I try to like sit back and coach them and let them do all the running. I'm like, I'm just in the corner if you need me to knock down a three, but like, I'm like, I don't bring up the ball. Like, they'll give me the ball and I give it right back. So I'm like, y'all want to play. Like, I'm just here to just get some cardio in.
That's it.
Yeah.
Now, another thing they asked, so I'm assuming you're an Eagles fan.
Kinda, yeah.
Kinda,
I just
yeah.
started playing attention
All right, well,
to football.
you just started, okay, so, but you know players, right?
Mm-hmm.
So who's your favorite football player? Your top 5 football players
Top
that you watched.
Jalen Hurts, of course. C.J. Gardner-Johnson, of course.
Okay.
I really like Josh Allen.
Okay,
I really like Josh Allen. And I'll be honest, I don't know. I can't.
Name nobody else? Okay, well, those are 3 good players.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we'll go A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. I have a Smith jersey, so I gotta say.
Yeah, Eagles all day. You heard that, Eagles. You mentioned that the startup, what baseball did for you. Now, is there any advice that you want to give to any young up-and-coming athlete, someone looking to accomplish? It don't have to be sports. It can be anything. Like, what advice do you want to give them?
I'd probably say the advice that I give myself right now, especially when you're trying something new, is just take that risk because, I never want to regret anything. Look back and be like, dang, I wish I would have done this or I wish I would have done that. So taking that risk and just going for it and just doing it and working hard and grinding and enjoying the journey. Like, everything isn't going to be just, you're not going to just go straight and take off. Like, you're going to have to enjoy the little steps. Like I said, when I first started pitching, a kid hit a home run off of me first batter. And, like, that didn't
discourage you.
Yeah, that didn't discourage me at all. That made me want to work harder so that didn't happen again. And since then, that kid hasn't gotten a hit off of me. So, never stop anything. Never let anyone stop you, and just being able to adapt to situations and you have to fail in order to succeed, but also having fun with it.
So now you mentioned that or some could look at it as a failure, but it was actually like a bump in the road. Him just pounding the baseball, knocking it out, out of the park. A lot of people would become discouraged and probably say, hey, listen, I don't want to do this anymore. Now, is there any other points in your life that you say, I got to keep pushing, things that happen to say, hey, look, I got to keep pushing through this?
I don't know how to put it, but I feel like for me, I've always been like not satisfied with what I've done. So like just keep going. Like I've always wanted to just keep getting better. But I don't know if there's if there's ever been a time where like I just couldn't push through anything. My coach told me we were driving in the car and he just was like, don't let 13 be the peak of your life. And since then, like I've always just inspired to try to do something bigger and better. And I always set goals for myself to achieve. And so one goal this year is to start YouTube. And like, I know I started at the end of the year, but like I like to plan things out before just jumping right into stuff. Like I like to think about, all right, how am I going to do this? How am I going to execute this way in order to be most successful about myself? So I don't know. I just always have the mindset of getting better every day, and doing new things that'll put me in different positions.
Okay.
Yeah. So I can't think of one moment where I felt discouraged and I couldn't push through.
Now, is there anything you probably want to do in sports, like any coaching, anything in sports that you think you might want to be involved in?
Yeah, I want to bring a basketball team and a soccer team to Philly, women's.
Oh, women's?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. So now you would definitely, want to be involved. Now, what aspect of it was you? I'll just bring them here. That's like as ownership or something?
Yeah, ownership for sure.
Wow.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on women's sports overall? Or do you think that the women are treated fairly, or do you think that it should be more attention paid to play to the women in sports. What's your thoughts on that?
I mean, I don't think they're treated fairly, but it's gotten better from what it was before. And I think people are starting to realize how entertaining women's sports is.
Yes.
And, that's a big shout out to Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese for kind of, people say it's a rivalry. They say it's not a rivalry, but like that kind of like that
spark.
That spark that was needed in the WNBA. Yeah. So, and then also can't forget Asia Wilson doing what she's been doing. Just really everyone in the WNBA doing what they've been doing, because I feel like more people have been talking about it, watching it now, and in the past few years than they have for 10 years now. But I think it's come a long way. I think it still has a long way to go. And I think the league's starting to, do a better job of just capitalizing on the momentum right now and running with it. But, I always feel like women could get treated better than, their male counterparts.
It's like, even in the WNBA, I think this probably was like the best year in WNBA. Like you said, due to Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark, that so-called rivalry, that kind of brought a lot of attention to the sport. How important is that to see them just compete at such a high level and bring that attention to sport? Do you think that will continue on to next season for the WNBA?
I think so, because that started in college. Caitlin Clark was pulling from half court in college, and so she's still doing it now. And then you have them come through, and then them doing what they've been doing in the league. But then you also look back at the college level, and you still have Flau'jae Johnson, Paige Beckers, Juju Watkins. Like, you have all of these women that are in college right now who are going to continue on pushing the league forward. So like Caitlin and Angel were at the start, but you still have so many more women behind them that will keep it going. And I definitely think it's going to keep going from till next year, because you got Paige coming out, Flau'jae will come out, AZ Fudd from UConn, even Hannah Delgado from the area, like she's coming out too. So, well, not next year, but you just have so many women that are coming out. It's going to keep going up. I don't see it stopping from here.
I interviewed someone who's a college basketball player, a Little Giant. I don't know if you know about Little Giant. What school would that Little Giant go to? Yeah. We interviewed her. She's nice. She calls herself a Little Giant. Yeah. What's your your opinion of college players being paid now? Like before there wasn't anyone getting paid. Now they're starting to open up the door to allow them to get paid in so many different ways. What's your thoughts on that?
I mean, I'm gonna be a little selfish. I don't like it now because I feel like I could have benefited off of it from a long time ago. But I love it for the athletes. What people don't realize, like, people say college sports is a job, but people don't understand how college sports is a job. Like, you literally have morning practices, then you gotta go straight to class, then you got practice in the afternoon, then you got homework. Like, if you really think about it, you have to try to fit in time to eat. Like, it's very demanding, and like, your teammates are the ones who you're around the most. Like, those are gonna be your best friend, and you're doing it for 4 years. Like, I think at some point there should be some. Well, now, like, these women, these men, they're getting paid for what they're doing, and I think they deserve it, because they work so hard. And then, you have people who have these promising careers in college, and then they get to the league and they get hurt, and then they don't really have too much to fall back on, like financially. And so when they start early, they're able to have something to fall back on in case they have an injury that they can't ever play again, and they're able to help out their family in some way, because a lot of the time those athletes are, they're the hope for their family. They're the ones providing for their family. So I love that they're getting paid now, and I think it's really cool because you're starting to see different sides of athletes. Like, go on TikTok and you see, Paige doing dancing, and you see the different sides, and it's they're able to show that they're more than just an athlete, that they're actually humans, they're young teens or young adults, and they're just having fun with it.
Yeah, because it seemed like, for a while, with sports, in college sports, it seemed like a lot of the players were you had some of the best athletes in college that had the opportunity to make it to the next level, but financial reasons restricted them in their play. They like, hey, listen, I don't have any money, I'm just out here playing. so it affected their ability to focus on sports.
Yeah.
Because I talked to some athletes and they're like, man, listen, and some of these guys really were really good, but they just couldn't make that, transition because of the difficulty to
and
school.
it's insane because what's his name? I forget his name, but he committed to BYU for like 7 mil, something crazy. He high schooler, and he's getting basically contracts bigger than WNBA players. Like get millions of dollars to go to a certain school. Like it's crazy how much it has, in just a short amount of time, how it's elevated. But at the end of the day, that 7 mil is going to change his entire family's life, whether he makes it or not. Like
Correct.
that's still, life-changing money for a lot of people.
Because, like you said, like, hey, before I think that honestly, I think the reason why they allow like college players to make money is because, like, for example, in the NBA, a lot of the high school players were just going to the G League because they were able to get paid there. So I think the colleges say, hey, look, let's make this opportunity where we can start paying people. But they were making billions of dollars for years.
Yeah, off these athletes. Yeah.
And now they decided to make the decision to allow them to be paid at certain instances. But now another thing now, with you now in your life currently now, like what's important to you? What's the most important thing for you right now?
Crazy, just asset, because I've been having talks with my friends, and I'd probably say what's most important is like my happiness. It's figuring out, what can I do to make myself happy, and sometimes that comes at a cost of other people not being happy. But at the end of the day, this is my life. This is the life that I want to live. This life that I'm the only one living. And so just making sure that I'm happy, making sure that, I'm enjoying life, and, like I said before, just getting 1% better and putting myself in a different position to, to not only help myself, but to help my family, help my friends, and just enjoying life, really.
Yeah, because sometimes you can put people before yourself sometimes, because you may have your heart may say,
I do that
I want
all the time, yeah.
And it just a lot sometimes makes you put yourself on the back burner. Now, what kind of investments are you doing? Like what kind of like is it in sports or anything that or like you said, the podcast? What is your main goal as far as making smart investments?
I would say really investing myself and like actually doing things that I've said I wanted to do for a long time now, and like actually going out and doing it. And I think that comes with having people around you that are motivating you to do it. Like I said, like I just started YouTube, and I said I wanted to do YouTube for a long time now, and I know I should have started when everything during Little League happened, but that didn't. I had other goals at the time, and so I have friends around me who are pushing me to drop videos, that are pushing me to vlog. They're like, Mo, why aren't you vlogging? Why don't you have your camera out? Why aren't you editing right now? So I have people that are pushing me, and so for 2025, like that's my goal, is to just keep doing YouTube and seeing where that takes me, because that's another door that can open up in the content space, just social media in general. Like that's a space that I feel like I could tap more into, and just try different things. And I feel like 2025 is going to be a year where I'm just trying things and doing things for myself and not doing things for others.
Yeah. So my next question: what makes you laugh? People want to know, like, what kind of movies do you watch? Are you are you watch comedies? What is it that makes you have a good time?
What makes me laugh? I watch movies. I do love comedy movies. I'll probably say now, it's crazy because people always ask like movie shows, but like streaming, like watch people stream, like Kai Cenat having Drewski and Kevin Hart on, like. That was funny. Like I actually would sit there and watch for hours and just crack up at that. So like I watch just like people just being themselves. My friends make me laugh all the time. Like they just do dumb, stupid stuff. So that makes me laugh. But I don't know. I don't know.
Kevin Hart is hilarious, man.
Kevin Hart is Drewski. I feel like those three together, Kai Cenat, Kevin Hart, Drewski, those three together are just amazing.
Like
trio.
over the top, right?
Yeah.
I kind of got a little bit of the clips and saw what was going on with them. Now, how important is it to have a strong team, like a good support group around you when you're trying to accomplish your goal?
It's huge. Always like to surround myself with people that have goals, that have places that they want to be, because. Like people always say, you surround yourself with billionaires, like not too long after you'll become one yourself. So I like to surround myself with people that, you know, want to do better in life, want to do better for themselves, want to do better for their families. But I think it's huge to have that team that supports your moves, the ones that allow you to be yourself, that allow you to fail, but also are there to help you when you do fail. But I think having a team is a strong team is really big, because you can't do everything yourself. You gotta be able to lean on other people when you need help.
Now, another thing I want to ask you, like we speak about the team, how I want to go back to some of the most important things. You mentioned your stepfather, and then you mentioned your mother. How important were they in your life at the time when you were, you know, going through everything you was going through with all the success and, you know, everything that was going on with you at that time?
They were very supportive. My mom went almost everywhere with me. And then I also have siblings too. My stepdad was able to, you know, hold the house down for us. But my mom always says, like, when they're not here, like, you have to rely on your siblings. And so I always try to make sure, you know, I'd bring them wherever I go. And, you know, I would always, like, tell them, like, just give me some time, you know, we'll be together. And I always tell my little sister, like, we're completely opposite. Like, she's girly, she's very, very girly, and I'm into the sports. Like, I run around in sweatpants and a hoodie all day, but, you know, they always just, you know, tell us, like, we're all we have. Make sure you take care of yourselves. And, you know, they just really showed us, you know, how to hustle, how to, you know, make sure you know, you can get things on your own, don't depend on anybody else. But, you know, during that time, they were able to just let me be a kid and, you know, do things that I thought were fun, and, you know, not kind of limit me to certain things. And then also just let me play sports with the boys. Like I said, my mom did not want me to do that, and she caved and she let me do it, and it really turned out for the better. Yeah.
So for, you know, another thing is, like, you know, a lot of kids now, because I'm in the community, working in the community a lot with younger adults. It seems to me like a lot of kids, you know, don't appreciate the fact that they have parents who care about them. You know what I'm saying? And it's good to see that you know, you love your parents and you're happy that they were by your side and they kind of were with you along the way. So what message can you give to the kids out there who are watching to say, hey, listen, how important it is to honor and respect your parents?
I mean, it's huge to have that respect and to honor your parents, because no matter what, they're going to do whatever they can to put you on the best path, because they don't want you to have the same mistakes that they made. And so I know it could be very overbearing. It feels like when, you know, you want to do something, your mom or your dad's like, no, you can't do that. Like, they're not doing that because they just want to say no. They're doing that to protect you, because this world does not care about anybody. Like, somebody has to be there to protect you. And so I just feel like nowadays, like, I feel like a lot of parents aren't being parents. Like, you could have a way worse situation than what you think you're going through right now. Some people don't have parents, and so they want to have the life you have. So when you do have your parents around and they're looking out for you, really appreciate what they're doing, because some people won't do that. But I always respect my family, because my mom, my stepdad, I always respect them because they have sacrificed so much for me and my siblings, and, you know, they put us in better situations than, you know, we could have gone. A lot of kids could have gone down so many different paths, but, you know, they were able to, you know, put us in the right schools, take us out of the city, put us in the suburbs, and just make sure we had a good life, and showed us, you know, what a happy home looks like. So I'm really appreciative of my parents, and I feel like really people should, you know, start saying how much they appreciate and love their parents more, because, you know, you never know what's going on in this world. You never know what people are going through, especially your parents, because they have so much to take care of around the house and taking care of you and your siblings. So really appreciate what they do, because, you know, they're doing it out of love, and, you know, they really care about you.
All right, and I know I'm taking a lot of your time, but I have a few more questions. But one of the last questions that I have for you is, if there was one thing that you can go back and change in your life that you feel comfortable sharing, what would that be?
I'd probably say recording more, like recording the experience to be able to look back on it, and I just feel like even if, like, posting it on YouTube, like for other people to see the experiences that I got to go through. I feel like that's one thing that I would go back and change, because I actually hated pictures. I hated videos. When all that was going on, my mom would always take pictures still, and I'd be like, "Why are you taking a picture? Like, I don't like pictures." And she would always say, "I want you to have these memories to look back on when you get older." So now that I'm older, like that's the stuff I appreciate. Is like, dang, like I can go look back at a picture. Like we had a picture up there, and I was like, oh, that was from 8th grade. Like, it like to remember certain things. And so I would definitely want to go back and record my experiences, take more pictures, and kind of keep like a scrapbook of all those things.
Wow. And is there anything else you want to add before we get up out of here? How can people find you? How can people reach out to you?
Yeah.
I'll say that. And how can what you got coming up that they can be a part of?
Yeah. So you can find me on really any social media. I'm on TikTok. I'm on Twitter or X. I'm on Instagram. And then also I've done like a recap on my YouTube that I have now. So I did like a where have I been? I did a pros and cons list. I'm dropping an Eagles vlog this week. So probably my YouTube is going to be, where I'm going to be posting most, and then also on TikTok and Instagram.
Okay, now do you have a name for your YouTube page?
Yeah, it's just Monet Davis.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so you heard it here first. It's TBISE. Check out Monet Davis, man. She's here. She kind of gave us the time. We had to hunt her down, but we got her. And the interview is yours to view. And reach out to her, man. And reach out to TBISE, the best in sports entertainment.
If you need around-the-clock care, call Medicare LLC. We are concerned about your care. We are concerned about the care for your loved one. Please allow us to help. I look forward to hearing from you. Call us today.